What if your home could become the calmest place you know? What if your mind could feel as peaceful as a clear morning sky? And what if the first step toward that peace wasn't to add anything new, but to let go of what no longer serves you? In a world that glorifies accumulation, decluttering feels almost rebellious. Everywhere we look, we're told to buy, upgrade, and store more. More clothes, more gadgets, more decor, more everything. But deep down, we know that the more we add, the heavier we feel. Behind the piles, the closets, the overflowing inboxes lies something we've forgotten. Clarity. The space to breathe, think, and truly live. Decluttering isn't just about cleaning up your room, it's about clearing your life. From chaos to clarity, from distraction to direction. It's the art of creating space for peace. Chaos doesn't arrive overnight. It builds slowly, like dust settling over time. One unmade decision becomes a pile. One emotional attachment becomes a drawer full of maybe someday. One busy day becomes a life too full to pause. And before you know it, your space no longer reflects who you are. It reflects who you used to be. Decluttering isn't a punishment for having too much. It's an invitation to meet yourself again. The present you, not the past one buried under stuff. It's about honoring your energy, your time, and your mental space by choosing what stays and what goes with intention. The process begins by asking a simple but powerful question. What adds value to my life, and what doesn't? That question alone shifts everything. Because clutter isn't just physical, it's emotional, mental, and even spiritual. The things we hold on to often carry stories, memories, or guilt. We keep things out of fear. Fear of waste, fear of regret, fear of losing part of our identity. But what we don't realize is that the clutter itself is what keeps us stuck. It anchors us to old versions of ourselves, to unfinished chapters, to dreams we've already outgrown. Letting go isn't losing, it's liberating. When you start decluttering, it's tempting to focus only on what you're removing. But the real transformation comes from what you're making space for. Space to think clearly, space to move freely, space to create, rest, and breathe without distraction. Imagine walking into a room where everything has a place, where surfaces are open and air flows easily. You feel lighter, not because the room changed, but because the energy did. The magic of decluttering lies not in emptiness, but in alignment. You create a space that matches your inner peace, not your outer chaos. But how does this shift happen mentally? Clutter constantly reminds your brain of unfinished business. Every pile whispers, you should deal with me. Every messy drawer pulls at your attention, even when you're not consciously looking. That background noise drains your focus, adds stress, and keeps you from resting deeply. When you declutter, you silence those whispers. You reclaim attention for what matters. Your environment stops controlling your energy, and your mind finally exhales. Studies show that people living in decluttered spaces experience lower cortisol levels, better sleep, and improved mood. The science simply confirms what our souls already know. Clarity feels good. Decluttering is also an act of mindfulness. As you sort through your belongings, you start noticing your habits, what you buy, what you avoid, what you hold on to just in case. You begin to see patterns. Maybe you shop when you're stressed, or keep gifts out of guilt. Each item becomes a mirror reflecting part of your inner life. Decluttering with awareness transforms from cleaning into healing. It's not just about removing the unnecessary, it's about understanding why it was there in the first place. Once you see the emotional roots, the letting go becomes gentler. You stop judging yourself for the clutter and start forgiving yourself for it. And something else happens, a shift from control to trust. Many people cling to things because they believe safety lies in possession, but true safety lies in confidence, in knowing you'll be okay without them. When you declutter, you learn that you can let go and still have enough. You experience abundance not through excess, but through gratitude. The less you own, the more deeply you appreciate what remains. That's the heart of clarity, realizing that peace doesn't come from adding more, but from seeing clearly what already is. Decluttering also transforms time. A cluttered home steals minutes from your day, looking for keys, cleaning around piles, managing stuff that doesn't matter. But it also steals mental time, moments of peace replaced with background anxiety. When you simplify, you reclaim both. You clean faster, think clearer, and rest easier. The space around you becomes your ally instead of your burden. Suddenly, time stretches. You have room for creativity, for connection, for the simple joy of being present. That's the magic of less. It gives back what clutter quietly took away. But decluttering doesn't stop at your physical space. Once you experience the mental lightness of simplicity, you start decluttering other parts of your life too. Your schedule, your digital world, even your relationships. You begin to ask, what brings clarity and what brings chaos? You might start saying no to commitments that drain you, unfollowing accounts that trigger comparison, or setting boundaries with people who take more than they give. Each step simplifies your life, not by making it smaller, but by making it real. You stop living by default and start living by design. Digital clutter especially is one of the most overlooked forms of chaos. Every unread email, every notification, every app competes for your attention. Your phone, once a tool, becomes a portal of noise. Decluttering digitally means reclaiming control of your attention, deleting what distracts, organizing what remains, and setting boundaries for when and how you connect. It's not about disconnecting from the world, it's about reconnecting with yourself. Because peace doesn't come from being constantly available, it comes from being intentionally present. Decluttering also changes how we see consumption. Once you clear your space, you become more conscious of what you bring back in. You begin to choose quality over quantity. You buy not out of impulse, but purpose. You realize that every new thing you acquire isn't free. It costs you space, time, and attention. This awareness becomes self-sustaining. You no longer need to declutter often because you've shifted your mindset. You start valuing simplicity as a daily choice, not a one-time project. You start living lighter, thinking clearer, and feeling freer. The magic of decluttering also lies in how it reconnects you with gratitude. When your home isn't buried in excess, you notice and appreciate what remains. Your favorite mug, your most comfortable chair, your bookshelf, these things become enough. You find beauty in simplicity, comfort in stillness, and joy in presence. Gratitude naturally grows when clutter no longer drowns it out. You stop chasing the next thing and start enjoying the now. On a deeper level, decluttering also reconnects you to your purpose. When your mind is free from distraction, you start hearing your own voice again, the quiet one that gets buried under noise. You begin to ask bigger questions. What kind of life do I want to create? What truly matters to me? What deserves my energy? The answers bring clarity not just to your space, but to your soul. You realize that simplicity isn't the opposite of success, it's the foundation of it. Because true success isn't about how much you have, but how light you feel while having it. But decluttering doesn't mean perfection. Life will always get messy. The goal isn't to have a spotless space, it's to have a peaceful relationship with it. Minimalism isn't about restriction, it's about freedom. You can still have color, creativity, and personality, just without chaos. The point isn't to live with less for its own sake, but to live with intention. Decluttering gives you the tools to reset, to come back to center whenever life starts feeling too heavy again. Even small steps make a big difference. Start with one drawer, one shelf, one thought. As you let go physically, you'll feel the shift mentally. A clean desk turns into a clear mind. A quiet room becomes a sanctuary. You'll begin to crave space, not stuff, and the peace that comes with it. You'll find that clarity isn't something you create once. It's something you practice daily. Each day becomes an opportunity to choose what serves you and release what doesn't. When chaos fades, clarity emerges naturally. You see your life with new eyes. You notice what's been there all along: joy, calm, enoughness. You realize that happiness was never hidden behind things. It was buried beneath them. And as you continue to simplify, you become more present. You start showing up fully for yourself, your work, your relationships. You stop chasing peace and start living it. From chaos to clarity, that's the journey. It's not about cleaning up your house, it's about cleaning up your energy. It's about recognizing that what you keep, physically or emotionally, shapes who you become. Decluttering is how you take back control, not just of your space, but of your life. You trade the noise for silence, the excess for essence, and the overwhelm for peace. And once you experience that transformation, you never want to go back. So the next time you feel lost in the mess, pause. Don't look for something to add. Look for something to release. Because every time you let go, you create space for what truly belongs. And that space, that quiet, open, peaceful space, is where life begins again. Thank you for watching this video on Think Fresh Daily. If this message inspired you to simplify your life and find clarity in the middle of chaos, please like this video, share it with someone who needs peace today, and subscribe to Think Fresh Daily for more insights on living simply, intentionally,